I think it's safe to say that we all know of the classic Disney movie, The Lion King, and have heard its feel-good song, Hakuna Matata. During the song, Timon and Pumbaa are shown eating insects they find in a log, while declaring them slimy and satisfying. Simba, the main character, looks disgusted, just as the viewer might be. But he ends up trying and enjoying a bug. However, insects aren't eaten only in the jungles of Disney movies. The United Nations approximates that more than a quarter of the world's population embraces entomophagy, or the practice of eating insects, regularly. So maybe Timon and Pumbaa aren't that far off. Their food source may just be our protein-filled savior as we face the immense depletion of resources from our planet, accompanied by an ever-mounting accumulation of greenhouse gases. According to the UN, demand for food is expected to rise as much as 14% each decade, and the world population is projected to grow from 7.2 billion today to 9.6 billion in 2050. As the population grows, naturally our demand for food will grow too. However, in order to expand agriculture, more forests will be eradicated, harming natural life and the atmosphere. The Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, known as FAO, reports that 70% of Amazon rainforest has already been cut down and turned into pastures. Expanding agriculture in this way leads to increased carbon dioxide contribution by the livestock industry, which already generates 18% of CO2 emissions and a much larger amount of both nitrous oxide and methane. Besides its negative effects atmospherically, the FAO reveals that traditional agriculture is the source of major pollution from animal waste, antibiotics and hormones, chemicals, fertilizers, and pesticides. Additionally, widespread overgrazing disturbs water cycles, reducing the replenishment of both above and below ground water resources. Now, living in the 21st century, we are all aware of the drastic effects of global warming and pollution. Our ice caps are melting, our cities are sinking, and we are losing potable water. In fact, the UN estimates that almost half of the world's population will be living in areas of high water stress by 2030. Unfortunately, the FAO notes that agriculture uses 70% of all the water withdrawn. Think about that. Billions of people will have to suffer through a scarcity of water, while most of our world's water is going to livestock and crops. Of course, we do need food to live, just as we need water. But surely there must be a food source that eases global warming, takes up less land, and slows the depletion of water, even as our population continues to increase rapidly. Some may suggest lab-grown meat, but this option is probably not feasible due to its high cost and low yield. The best solution to this growing crisis is to introduce insects into the Western diet. Before rejecting the idea in disgust, we must channel our inner Simba and open ourselves up to a new way of thinking about our crawling critter friends. Plus, we have already eaten bugs, whether you know it or not. The Center for Invasive Species Research estimates that the average American eats about 2 pounds of dead insects and insect parts a year. These bugs are in vegetables, rice, beer, pasta, and other products. And the truth is, throughout the world, insects are consumed. Humans have harvested the eggs, larvae, pupae, and adults of certain insect species to eat for thousands of years, and people in Africa, Asia, and Latin America eat insects as a regular part of their diet. But why? Well, it's because of the immense environmental and nutritional benefits associated with insect consumption. Let's start with why entomophagy helps the environment. Farming insects can help us combat global warming, as FAO data indicates that species such as mealworm larvae, crickets, and locusts compare favorably with livestock in their greenhouse gas emissions. They are lower by a factor of about 100. In terms of raising the insects, they are both environmentally and economically efficient. Insects are smaller and able to live closer together than traditional livestock such as pigs or cows, which is essential considering that 12% of Earth's land surface is used for crop production. For reference, that's equal to about double the land surface of the US. Also, insects can be reared on biowaste, reducing environmental contamination while adding value to waste. Furthermore, insects require less food. The food conversion efficiency of insects may be 20 times that of cattle. This, combined with living off of biowaste, means that the industry for feed does not need to expand significantly to accommodate insects. And feed production will not increase rapidly as it will if livestock farming were to be expanded. As a result, we emit fewer greenhouse gases and increase the efficiency of farming. Despite the overwhelmingly positive impact a shift to entomophagy will have on our environment, you might still feel that it's not enough to get over the yuck factor. Fortunately, the magical insect has a few more benefits attached to its 6 legs. In terms of nutritional value, insects are possibly the most beneficial protein we can eat. Insects have relatively more protein than both cattle and fish. Insects are also filled with important fatty acids, often found in fish, that are essential to children's growth. In areas that have limited access to fresh fish, insects provide these necessary omega fatty acids and can supplement diets to include more amino acids, the building blocks of cells. And insects aren't just a protein boost. According to the FAO, most edible insects boast equal or higher iron contents than beef. Iron is vital to bodily functions and strengthens the brain and muscles. The World Health Organization has flagged iron deficiency as the world's most common and widespread nutritional disorder. Introducing insects into our diets will not only increase protein and iron intake, but also help significantly with zinc, vitamin, and fiber deficiencies. Adding this nutrition to our diets will enhance our bodily functions and augment our overall well-being. Plus, they don't have to be gross. We can snack on roasted insects, use cricket flour in cooking, mix them into a salad for a nice crunch. They add a nutty flavor and a crisp texture that we might just enjoy. And from a health standpoint, how could we not eat insects? A 6-ounce serving of crickets has 60% less saturated fat and twice as much vitamin B12 than the same amount of ground beef. So let's stop wasting our time, money, land, and water on livestock and begin saving the future, starting in our own kitchens. I know it may be hard to get over the yuck, but just remember Timon, Pumbaa, and Hakuna Matata. Insects mean no worries for the rest of our days.